Today I'm going to be telling you all about the supplies you'll need to make the mini album using the Hip Hip Hooray collection from Graphic 45. Hi everyone, my name is Debbie. I am from Project 39 Mini Albums and I am so excited to be a guest designer for Scrap and Create. So I want to tell you a little bit about the materials that I use and how the video is set up. So just grab a cup of coffee or tea or water, whatever, and just get comfortable. So first of all, I already did a walkthrough of the materials from the Hip Hip Hooray collection that I'll be using very quickly. So I'll have the 8x8 collection, the 12x12 collection, the 12x12 patterns and solids, and then of course, you know, with Scrap and Create, you get some gorgeous ribbon and some charms to coordinate, and I certainly will be using those. As well, I do have the Cardstock sticker set, the tags and frames, and I'm sorry if it's shiny and you can't see it, but as I said, there's a walkthrough, and I show you everything that's in there, a haul video actually, so you can check that out. I love the rub-on transfers, so I'll be using that, as well the ephemera. Now let me show you the tools that I generally use, especially if you're not familiar with my videos. It may be a little different, but I'm sure you have things you can use. So let me show you that. All right, and a little more about the supplies I use. Not that you need to go out and buy exactly this, of course, you know that. But some people ask what the brands were and why I use them. So I'll just tell you that now so we can get that out of the way. So for smaller paper pieces, I use this Fiskars. It's a 5-inch trimmer. Sometimes I'll cut 6 or 7 inches long, 5x8 maybe. It just gives me a nice crisp cut, so I like that. It's actually been broken. I've glued it, so I use that one. I use this Martha Stewart scoreboard just because it's what I have. Whatever 12-inch scoreboard you have would work. Even if you use a smaller one, that is fine. To score on that, I use this old Cricut stylus. It came with Cricuts when they first come out. I think you still can get them. I just like the point of that, but whatever you want to use, whatever you're comfortable with. But that's just why I use that. To cut my chipboard and my 12x12 pieces, I have this old antique Fiskars paper trimmer. It's a rotary trimmer. It actually was my mom's. I've had it forever. You have to change this out every so often. I'll do that now. And then you have to replace this thing, which is hard to find at times. But I use this for a lot. You can cut 5 or 6 pieces of paper at the same time. So that's why I like it, because I make a lot of mini albums. So, but whatever you use to cut your paper is, of course, fine. I also use, I forget what brand, but it's a non-stick bone folder. I like this because this comes to a bevel. You can also use it to pick up the backing on score tape. This comes to a bevel as well, but it's rounded, so you could still cut into your paper if you dig into it, but this is great for when you're making your covers, as you'll see. And it's a good size. It fits my hand nicely. Another Fiskars. I use this for fussy cutting. Here's a bigger one. I use that just for big cuts. Handy dandy ruler. I use the Designer Dries Clear Glue from the Art Glitter Institute. I usually get larger containers and put it into this, or you might see a smaller container as I go on, just because this gets all cruddy. What I do with this is I have my fine point and I have the pin, but I also have a glass jar with a little bit of paper towel that's moistened. You don't want it too wet. You've got to find the right consistency. And so then what I do is once I take out my pin and start crafting for the day, I just turn it upside down. And that way the glue is always to the bottom and it's not leaking out anywhere. Yeah, you might lose a drop or two in that paper towel from time to time, but it works. I might go for a day or two and just leave it upside down like this, and I don't lose any glue. So anyhow, there's that. I also do use magnets, so you'll need to grab some magnets, pencil and paper to take notes in case I do something crazy or different. And let's talk about some other supplies. Oh, I know. I'll use a corner rounder. So this is, I couldn't even tell you the brand because it's been wiped off. All right, let me clean this up and show you some other things. Okay, I will use 8.5 by 11. You'll need 2 sheets plus some scraps. Medium, you could use 12 by 12 and just cut it down. Medium weight chipboard, of course I use the graphics kind. I put double-sided score tape on the back to adhere it to the album, so I do like to use sheets of this. If you don't have it or you don't want to use it, you can of course use glue to adhere the chipboard to the cover paper. I do use 1/4-inch score tape. I use that quite a bit. The paper I'll be using to make the cover, I know you guys are aghast saying, oh my gosh, you're not using Recollections, are you? But yes, I am. The color of this I thought was really nice, and I didn't have time to go ahead and order some really good paper. So what I use is, I'm using 8.5 by 11. Now, if you're using any paper that's 12 by 12, you're going to have scraps that are different sizes. You can reuse those scraps for photo mats and whatever. So you might have a lot of scraps. I've had people say, oh, she has lots of paper left over when she's done. Well, it's because I use a different size paper than what I use. So just know that you'll have some left over if you use 12 by 12. It's not the worst thing in the world. I use the 65-pound for a lot of it. I also use the 110-pound. Now, yes, this Recollection 65-pound is lighter weight than 65-pound, which is 176 GM. I know a lot of you guys might go by that. It's very lightweight. So when I'm doing flaps, then I'll use the 110-pound. Now, if you're not going to use the Recollections, that's fine. Use whatever you have. If you use an 80-pound, 85-pound, something like that, you don't need both of these. Just use that. That'll work fine. And use whatever color suits your fancy. Let me pull everything together and just go over my final details and tell you how the videos will be set up. While I talk, I'm going to lay out some of these pieces of ephemera just because they're so cute. And if you haven't had a chance to look at the collection, you will appreciate it. So my videos will be set up, I mean, nothing earth-shattering. I will, of course, be doing the cover first, and then I will be using a hinge system. So I will be doing that and giving you the measurements of the hinge. Then I will make base pages and then add elements to the pages. I make my books with the pages in the book. If that's not how you want to roll, if you want to make the pages and decorate them and then put them in the book, that will work fine too. I just have a hard time with that. I like to have the pages in the book so I can coordinate things a little better, so I can see how much room, so I can see where the magnets are. It's just how I've gotten used to doing things, and I think that's a lot of why we do what we do, because that's how we've been used to it. Isn't that bunny carrying the gifts just adorable? So I will do a video next of making the cover and the hinge and the base pages, and then there will be, the other videos will be step by step on the pages. Now I might do 2 pages if they're simple together, but basically it's going to be 1 page and then the next page and then the next page. He has a lot of personality, doesn't he? He's sitting there with a gift. Just so adorable. He's just got so much just personality. And then one last note, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have been making mini albums for quite a while. Way back when, maybe 12 years ago, I had the bright idea I worked in a large retailer, craft retailer in the United States. So for 15 years, I did that. I didn't do much crafting while I worked there because I didn't have time. But then as I was thinking, I'm done. I'm done working. How can I supplement my income? Because my husband and I decided we're going to sell the house and everything in it and go buy an RV and travel the country. And that is what I'm doing. This is going to be our 6th year of being full-time on the road. So I thought, all right, I'll supplement my income by making mini albums. Okay, when you guys stop laughing, I'll tell you, it doesn't work, but I do enjoy it. I have a studio in my RV. I have videos on my channel showing you the studio. Ask me and I'll remember, I'll put it in the comments if someone asks me and remind me that I said I would. But we travel and I craft, I hike, hang out with friends. I don't have no more room for this guy, but aren't these adorable? I'm pretty good about responding to comments. It may be a day or so. The worst is when I don't have internet if we're traveling, but that doesn't happen too often. I mean, you can get internet everywhere now. But unfortunately, you might have to wait a little bit if you're in the middle of making an album and have a question. Just go ahead to the next step and I will respond. I am pretty good about that. I also want to, again, thank Julie for inviting me to do this guest design team project. I love Graphic 45. This to me is a different kind of collection. It doesn't have that same vintage vibe, but it doesn't mean it's not stinking adorable. It really, really is. And I hope I can show this collection to its fullest using all the gorgeousness of this. I also will be working with the other new spring collection that came out after I finish this project. So stay tuned. I would love if you, I have nowhere to put these XOs. Don't forget to like my videos. It really helps me out more than you can know. And I'd love if you subscribed. I mainly do mini albums. I do other sorts of paper crafts. My goal is to not have any paper left over. So after I finish this larger mini album, I will be doing other projects with the scraps. So I invite you to join along with me. Personally, I just don't have room for scraps in the RV. I mean, I do, but my goal is always to use what I have so I don't have to put anything back and find room to store it. I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else exciting to tell you. I hope that answered all your questions. Go ahead and ask in the comments if you have something else that I didn't address here, so I know to add it to future videos. So without any further ado, I will start with the next video on making the cup. Thanks again for watching. Have a fabulous